we had a lot of nice nature and a lot of animals going throughout the territory today. A lot of horses, a lot of cows, a couple deer, have seen a couple foxes, not today. There has been sightings of a bear as well, and a bald eagle. Been a great narration that goes over the history and the scenery of the area as well. I'll be around to provide a little more insight and a little more history as well, and answer any questions you may have. Restrooms in this car are not working. It's a 1955 built car. Pipes froze a couple of weeks ago, and then they exploded. So, it wasn't me. It was. This car does not have a working bathroom. Everything's A-OK though. Your bathroom will be located one car behind you. First thing on the left, that one's working. If it doesn't, blame Kevin. Alright. Concession car is not open just yet. I'll make an announcement when they do, and I'll tell you what they have serving. Other than that, please sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. Two more things, very carefully. First of all, between each car, it's very, very slippery. Watch your step. I just slipped. I don't want you to slip as well. I'm experienced and I slipped, so highly likely you guys will slip. So please be careful. One last thing, I am doing 2 cars on this run. I have over 100 people on this train alone for me personally. So I'm going to try my best to give you a 5-star experience throughout the ride. If I disappear for a couple minutes, I do apologize. I didn't forget about you guys. I'm still here. Please, if you have low patience, I'll still give you the best experience possible, alright? Other than that, thank you so much for joining us. Sit back, relax, and welcome aboard.
Gettysburg.
That's great. I don't know. Bullets. We had a deer this morning right outside in the sunroom. The cherry tree, right at the cherry tree. Like right outside by the garage. And then there was another little one down. Did you? Did you? Right up the road. Huge. These are all college kids. So you guys are not qualified.
The carpet money. They were just coming out.
What is it?
Whoa.
In the area of our current location, you will find the railroad cut. In July 1863, the Western Maryland Railroad connected Gettysburg to the east, and an unfinished extension paralleled Chambersburg Pike, now US 30, on the west side of town. Although rails had not yet been laid, the roadbed was finished, including a series of 3 cuts through the north-south bridges. On the afternoon of July 1st, these served as protection to Confederate units advancing on the field, but became a fatal trap which hindered mobility and the ability to return fire when Union troops attacked the cut. The railroad was completed after the war and is still in daily use today. The remains of a Union soldier were discovered in 1997. We know that this unknown soldier was killed up at the top of this ridge on July 1st, 1863. But his remains were not discovered for 130 years. In 1997, he was disinterred and reburied at the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, with full military honors, including the traditional 21-gun salute.
All right, folks, the cafe bar is open and serving right now. They have a variety of popcorn. They have pretzels, I believe, nachos, candy, soda, water, hot chocolate, coffee. There were 2 cars to the front of the train. If you manage to go by it, you'll find yourself
By
in
the
the
summer of
engine. Don't go to the
1863,
engine, I'll
the
get
Civil
fired.
War had been
All
raging
right,
for over 2
keep going
years.
that way, open and serving,
Following a
all right?
series of decisive victories in Virginia, General Robert E. Lee and his Confederate Army marched north to the Gettysburg Valley into Maryland and Pennsylvania. The primary goal of the invasion was to bring the war into Northern territory. If Lee could win a major battle in Pennsylvania, he could threaten the U.S. Capitol in Washington and possibly force a negotiated surrender.
This is part of the battlefield.
By June of 1863, Lee's army had spread out across south-central Pennsylvania, gathering much-needed supplies and provisions. General George Meade, the new commander of the Union Army, followed Lee into Pennsylvania and positioned his army in defense of Washington. By late June, the 2 generals were drawn toward each other by a series of battles, all of which converged on the Battle of Gettysburg. Decades later, the monuments you see today were constructed to honor the Union regiments that fought to defend Gettysburg. Eventually, the land was protected by the federal government and became known as Gettysburg National Military Park.
We could come for a bicycle ride. This would be a nice ride. That would be a nice bike ride.
We're now entering the area of the Eternal Light Peace Memorial. Dedicated in 1938 on the 75th anniversary of the battle, President Franklin D. Roosevelt spoke to a massive crowd, including many aging Civil War veterans. Atop the monument, a flame burns 24 hours every day in honor of the lasting peace between North and South. We're now riding by the Confederate cannons of Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Henry Carter's battery. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the deafening sounds of artillery fire, heard by Gettysburg civilians as they sheltered in their homes awaiting the end of the battle. There were more than 600 cannons in use during the Battle of Gettysburg. And during the bombardment before Pickett's charge on July 3rd, 200 cannons were firing at the same time.
Automatic.
They were heard in Philadelphia, felt in Pittsburgh. Philadelphia was concerned a more local battle was taking place. In reality, it was Gettysburg making a lot of noise. Heard in
During this
Philadelphia,
era, rail passenger coaches were often named after inns, reflecting the historical practice of travelers using inns for lodging. This tradition likely started with early coach designs inspired by stagecoaches, creating a sense of community among passengers. And the GETR 1862, formerly the Elmira Inn, built in 1949 by the Bud Company for the Pennsylvania Railroad's fleet of streamliners and the fleet of monomen as a 21-room sleeper named Elmira Inn. Converted in 1963 as a 72-seat coach for World's Fair Service, it later went to the Penn Central and then New Jersey Transit. The car was retired in 1989 and sold to the United Railroad Historical Society. Ringling purchased it for use on the Blue Train in 1991. The car was used exclusively by the Torrey's family globe of steel riders, as these performers rode 8 motorcycles in a steel sphere for Ringling. Purchased by Paxrail in 2017, the car was renamed the Elmira Inn. The GETR 1863, formerly the Coatesville Inn, a 1949 Budd-built railroad passenger car. Built in 1949 by the Budd Company for the Pennsylvania Railroad as the Coatesville Inn. The car was acquired in 1992 by Ringling for the Blue Unit, acquired in 2017 by Paxrail. The GETR 1864, formerly the Cedartown, the 1955 Budd-built railroad passenger car. This was originally Seaboard Airline 55 Cedartown. Budd-built in 1955, it eventually found its way to Autotrain before arriving on RBBB's roster in 1982. Paxrail purchased the car in 2017, renamed it Cedartown. The GETR 1865, formerly the Duke University, a 1950 Budd-built railroad passenger car. Much like the 2 former in-series ex-Pennsylvania Railroad Budd-built passenger cars in our fleet, the former Duke University was built as a 10-roomette, 6 double-bedroom sleeper for the Norfolk and Western Railway. One in a series that were all named for online schools, such as Virginia Military Institute, Roanoke College, University of Cincinnati, and Ohio State University. After the market for overnight sleeper rail shrank in the 1950s, the N&W sold that car and others to the PRR. PRR owned a controlling interest in N&W at the time, for conversion to coaches for the 1964-1965 New York World's Fair travel, just like our other 2 former N-series cars. Over time, the people of Gettysburg worked to establish a better transportation network. Public funds were used to build roads, and private companies created turnpikes. And like many other areas of the country, there were even attempts to construct a canal. To the south, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad was chartered in 1857, with tracks laid the following years. By 1831, plans were developed to run a railroad through this area, linking the industrial centers along the Susquehanna River with Gettysburg, and extending the line southwest into Maryland to connect with the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal and the B&O Railroad. However, attempts to build this new Pennsylvania Railroad were abandoned, leaving an unfinished railroad bed and deep cuts in the landscape west of Gettysburg. After many challenges, a railroad from the east finally arrived in Gettysburg in 1858, just 5 years before the battle. However, the unfinished railroad cut west of town remained for many years and became a notable feature associated with the Battle of Gettysburg. In the 1880s, the Western Maryland Railroad was extended south into Maryland. At the same time, a new line was built from Mount Holly Springs south to Gettysburg. On March 4, 1884, the 18-mile Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad that you are now riding on was completed, marked by the driving of 2 golden spikes into the tracks at Oak Ridge, very close to where we are now traveling. One spike was inscribed with 1863 and the other with 1880, the year standardized time was established in the United States and Canada. The first passenger train on this track ran on April 21st, 1884, pulled by a steam locomotive called South Mountain.
A little more history about this particular car. It was built in 1955 by the Bud Company in Philadelphia. This car was built for Seaboard Airlines and did over 10,000 trips up and down the eastern seaboard alone, making this car the most traveled car on the continent. They went to the auto train where it reflected the modern day Amtrak's auto train schedule and did over 5,000 trips on that train alone. The Ringley brothers took it in 1982, transformed it into a coach car, and spent over 30 years with the Ringley brothers as number 41405. Feel free to look that up on Google. You find some really cool photos of this car. 2017, this car was set to be retired and destroyed. We recovered it in 2023 after 6 years of it standing still and put over $300,000 in this car alone. $300,000.
Where are you going?
Buddy, make sure you send me one of those videos later. Thank you. Those houses look really good. Oh, that one over there has a gazebo.
I will be. Whatever. I don't mind
South Mountain is the northern extension of the famous Blue Ridge Mountain Range in Tennessee, Virginia, and Maryland. The range extends about 70 miles from the Potomac River to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. During the French and Indian War, the mountain provided protection for area settlers against enemy raids and incursions from the west. And during the Civil War, it served a critical role in disguising the movements of the invading Confederate forces.
Oh, Josie, are your favorite though? You're calling the white face. Yes, it is. You sure?
I'm not sure if you guys were able to see it. We saw a couple of cows on the right side of this train. That is Mom, Dad, and the new baby. He is 6 old, and the railroad has nicknamed him Junior. He is nicknamed Junior. much boys because it's more excursion type of filled with shopping and that kind of
For the early settlers, life on the frontier during colonial times was a harsh existence. During the French and Indian War, many settlements were raided by enemy forces, and dozens of civilians were killed or carried off as captives. Local men formed militia units and marched into western Pennsylvania together with British forces, and eventually the threat was eliminated with the capture of Fort Duquesne at present-day Pittsburgh in 1758. One of the local heroes of the French and Indian War was Colonel Ant Hamilton, an early settler who at one time owned much of the land in the area we're riding through now. 20 years later, men from this area once again rallied to defend their homes and villages, this time serving in the Continental Army against the British during the American Revolution. Today, cemeteries and churchyards across Adams County are filled with the graves of these revolutionary patriots.
Here, you can walk by yourself. Much easier.
How about we can share for you?
What did you get? That's a lot of
How about we can share nachos? Nacho cheese here.
I was going to get carrots and blue cheese, and I was hoping to French cheese.
No, it's just French.
Oh, that's not crunchy? I guess not.
Just taking the salt down.
I know. Your arm is like
Right here.
We are now approaching the Newville, or Biglerville Road, modern-day Route 34, leading north out of Gettysburg. This is one of the 10 major roads that converge at Gettysburg. On July 1st, 1863, about 7,000 men of Confederate General Robert Rodes' division passed here on their way to join the battle.
Is it?
Buddy, I can't believe some of the birds go on top of the wires. They are so big. They can get electrocuted. Especially those wires have a lot of electricity.
I got to send you a picture. I had coffee at the cheesecake for breakfast yesterday. I took the picture and never sent it.
In what you may rent at the square, you got roughly 10 acres of land, over 50 horses,
They're very friendly to the train. I think the rain today has kind of scared them away. We might see a couple coming up the hill. On the left side of this train is a trailer park. So look right. All right, look right.
No. Or else they're all gone.
How's the cheese packet? A little spice. Dunk it in molasses.
That was a hike.
Alright folks, look at this yellow house coming up. Look at this yellow house.
We are getting close to one of the original stops on the 1884 Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad, Goldenville. The Goldenville Road, which we are now crossing, dates to 1747 and is one of the oldest roads in the area. George Washington traveled this road in 1794, and in the area we're now riding through, a Civil War skirmish took place on June 26, 1863, between the 26th Pennsylvania Emergency Regiment and Confederate troops under the command of General Jubal Early.
Oh, there it is.
Chicken in already.
Don't worry about it because I'm going to do something. I think they got the instructors to sign up and stop until they're all
It was
done.
one of the first post offices in Pennsylvania. It was for Bowmanville, Pennsylvania. Our train in the 1880s used to stop there, pick up mail, take it to Gettysburg where it would be sorted and sent throughout the country. It's on a beautiful farm now, and a beautiful house. And that is one of the first post offices in Pennsylvania.
Let's go back in time to 1794. The federal government had imposed a new tax on whiskey to reduce the national debt. Farmers in western Pennsylvania, who made and sold whiskey in large quantities, felt the tax unfairly targeted them. In 1794, tensions escalated into violence when protesters attacked tax collectors and government officials. President George Washington responded by sending federal troops to suppress the rebellion, demonstrating the federal government's authority to enforce its laws. In October 1794, President Washington himself passed through Adams County on his way home after putting an end to the rebellion. He is said to have spent the night at Joshua Russell's Tavern, in the area we're riding through now. Washington was the first of our nation's presidents to visit the area, but not the last. Largely due to his popularity as the site of one of the largest battles in American history, 25 presidents have visited Gettysburg since Washington.
part of the
Much of the route of the Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad line passed through undeveloped farmland. Several stops were just platforms set up next to farmlands, providing locals with an opportunity to deliver their goods to a larger market. One of these stops was Table Rock Station, which we will pass momentarily.
So you got Christmas stuff.
This is where they formerly picked up goods in Table Rock. This crossing right here, back in the 1880s. Farmers would load the boxcars up with apples, oranges, anything else they had. They got shipped beyond here up to Mount Holly Springs, or they would go up to Harrisburg and beyond.
I do see a horse. Look at the 2 feet. How many were there? 4, 5, maybe.
Native Americans inhabited Pennsylvania for more than 10,000 years prior to the arrival of Europeans. In the absence of preserved written records, much of what we know about their existence comes from the items they left behind. Over the years, thousands of artifacts have been discovered in Adams County, mostly near creeks where camps and villages existed long ago. These indigenous peoples developed unique cultures, provided for their families, and built complex communities that thrived for centuries. Over time, Native Americans created more permanent settlements along rivers like the Susquehanna, leaving this area mostly unpopulated by the time Europeans arrived.
They're running. Oh, there's deer. Very suspicious. They came back from the
We got somewhere to go. You get to see one prefer you wanted.
That's the camper's house. The camper. What do you say it is? Another tree. Oh, listen.
We already went once.
We are now passing over Conewago Creek, an Iroquois term meaning at the place of the rapids. Waterways like this one, running through the northern and eastern portions of Adams County, flow into the Susquehanna River and the Chesapeake Bay. In the south and west, streams make their way to the Monocacy River and eventually to the Potomac. These ancient waterways were vital to the lives of both Native Americans and the Europeans who came after them. I need your attention for a very important safety announcement. The train is about to stop. If you are currently standing in one of the cars, please be seated. If you are walking through the train, we ask that you take your seat and secure any loose items, as items may shift while we stop.
Folks, this stop will be roughly 5 minutes. We're just short of Englandville. Walk the road, walk outside another locomotive, and they'll pull us back into Gettysburg. If you do see them outside, give a thumbs up and did a good job, or give a thumbs down, did a bad job. They are looking, alright? They also like the waves, and try to wave as well if you don't want to give them your opinion. Folks, we do see a long life while we are stopped. This is all the deer. We see deer here, we see foxes. We've also seen a bear. We've also seen
It's a lot of deer.
what interaction they have and answer any questions. Alright, thank you guys.
There's another one over there. So this one you just go to the side and go like that.
There's a tree line.
In the years after the American Civil War, Adams County's commercial fruit industry soared. One of the local pioneers of this effort was Noah Shealy, who first introduced his Adams County apples to the nation at Chicago's 1893 World Fair. Here he sold